it's Nicole Norris here, and I'm back with another tip, trick, and technique. This time I wanted to show you how to incorporate ink to create ink splatters on your layout. So just let me show you the finished product of what we're trying to create. On this layout, this is using the National Scrapbooking Day 2025 collection. This is one of the layouts I created for my workshop using this, and you're going to see that I've got some white ink splatters up here in this corner, and also kind of behind this cluster and this cluster on my layout. Ink splattering is a great way to add just a little extra wow touch to your layout. It's totally safe, archival safe and everything like that. But it just adds a little bit of interest and element behind, especially behind embellishment clusters, and just really adds that next level, a little bit of wow. I love using the mixed media type products in my layouts. So here's one example where I kind of have these bigger splatters. And then let me show you a second layout. This is a layout that one of my team members, Kayla Allen, designed for our recent crop. And it was using the Celebration collection, which is an advisor exclusive collection that was available to us during the first quarter. And we used it for our spring crop, which was super fun. And she did a beautiful job on this layout. But on here, we actually did a mix of a really fine splattering up here. Let me bring that a little closer to the camera so you can see it. So there's some very fine splatter and a combination of some fine and a little bit bigger splatter marks on the layout. And those are just a couple different ways you can create those splatters. On this one, we pretty much splattered our entire white cardstock base, which just added a little bit of texture to the white cardstock. A little while ago, Creative Memories, I don't know how long it's been, had some paper they released that had, like the white paper had some speckles to it. And I think I have that layout sitting right here. Let me show it to you. Yeah, this is another layout featuring the National Scrapbooking Day 2025 bundle, another layout in my National Scrapbooking Day workshop. And for the base, I actually used that white cardstock that had kind of the little colored texture pieces in that cardstock. It sold out super fast. So definitely if you could kind of create the same look with this splattering technique on your layouts. So super fun technique. I love using it. It really just adds that little pop of wow to your layout. I have a lot of layouts where I've used this technique. So I wanted to make sure I showed you how to do it so that if you are creating one of my workshops and you see that, you feel comfortable and confident that you can do it. So let me pull in some tools and so that we can demonstrate this for you. I have, first of all, the inks. I have a Memento. This one is the 607 Nautical Blue. This was part that you advisors could get as a sample product to kind of test out some products that Creative Memories is considering to carry, and just you might see more of these come this fall and winter. I also have the Creative Memories Gold Shimmer Brush. I don't believe any of these shimmer brushes are available any longer, but I will tell you, if the white shimmer brush or gold or silver ever come available again, make sure you order them. This white one is the best I have ever used. I've used some other div products to create the white splatters, and they clog and are kind of a mess and hard to use. And this white brush is phenomenal, amazing. And Creative Memories, if you're listening, order them again, bring them back, please. I love them. Anyways, so if these ever come available, make sure you order yourself like 1 or 2 or 3. So, okay, so I have 2 different types of ink products to use. I also have this fan brush. This actually was in a set of brushes that came like from close to my heart, but you can go to any craft store or online and order like a fan brush, and don't get like an expensive one, like dollar store. Think dollar store, it's great. I also have kind of a little lifting tool, like just something that I can kind of tap against. The other thing is I have a little tray that I'm gonna put some ink on, but if you also have one of these little mats that works really well for using multi-purpose or little products like this, like the inks and stuff. And then the other thing is if you take one of your Creative Memories boxes and create a splatter box, that can be really nice. Now this is an old Close to My Heart box, so it's an old box, but I want you to check out all the different ink splatter and stuff that has happened in this box. Every occasionally I replace the paper in the bottom. So a spray, like a box like this for splattering is really nice, just to make sure you don't get ink and splatters all over other things that you don't want it to get on. When you are doing this technique, I do recommend, if you think that far in advance in your creative process, that you splatter at the beginning and then let your layout dry. It doesn't take really long to dry, but it is really nice to do that splattering at the beginning to make sure you don't get splatters on something you don't want them on. Definitely on that You and Me layout on this one, we knew we were going to be splattering in advance. And so because I was following a pre-designed layout, and so I definitely was able to do that splattering in advance. Now, when I designed and created this layout, that was a little bit trickier to decide. So I did have kind of things laid out and was kind of like, oh, I think I'm going to add some splattering here. So I was able to add that. But if you've already got everything glued down, know that you can still add splatter to your layout. What you would want to do is just use some like printer paper, like thin paper. You don't need to use your nice fancy cardstock or anything like that. Just use some thin paper, and you could kind of lay paper over areas that you don't want splattered and then add your splatters at that point. So it's definitely doable at the end of your design process. You don't have to do it at the beginning. It's definitely would be a little trickier once you've got like all your embellishments down and stuff like that, but still doable. You could kind of cover it and try not to get on it. But you could also end up with splatters on those things, and honestly, it'd be okay too. It would be fine. Okay, so let's move that aside for just a second, and let's get our ink ready. So I'm gonna actually start with the white's not gonna show up on my white cardstock that I've got here. So I'm gonna start with the gold shimmer brush first of all. So I'm gonna make sure I've kind of got everything out of the way that I definitely don't want splatters. And this would be something I would probably do in my splatter box. Definitely in the splatter box. But I'm gonna do it on here just so I think it'll be easier to video it. So with my gold brush, I am going to just make sure I've got some ink kind of on the tip, and this is going to be so you can get your bigger splatters. So maybe I've used my gold too much and it's dry. Hold on, let's see if the silver. See, Creative Memories, I need you to bring these back because I need them. I need some more of them. Oh, here's the blue one. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, that worked just great. The joys of taking video and recording this live is you never know what's going to happen. Okay, so I've actually got some on this tray, which is going to work great because I'll use it when I use the fan brush. So with the ink on the tip of my brush, and I'm pulling out something to tap against, I could use the brush handle, this. There's lots of things you could use, just something to tap against. And I'm actually just going to tap on here. And this is going to give me bigger splatter marks. See how that's given me the bigger splatter marks? Okay, so that's how I can get those bigger dots. Now, if I want to get the fine dots, then you are going to want to take this little fan brush and put some ink on there and tap it on here as well. Just tapping that. Okay. And that's going to give me kind of a finer splatter. So these bigger ones came from just tapping right from the brush, and then the finer ones came from using that fan brush. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. And then as far as cleaning this, I would just rinse it out with some water and let it air dry. You could also use this ink. I'm going to kind of get some ink on here. And this isn't how I normally do it. I definitely prefer this shimmer brushes. Let's kind of brush this off. I've got some paper towels right here. Brush that off. Okay, so I added some ink, added some water, and then I'm going to do that same technique. Let's see if I can. Well, that's not tapping very good. Maybe I didn't get enough on there. Let's get. The nice thing is, I mean, an ink pad isn't made necessarily for like it's, there we go. I just didn't have enough on there. So this is obviously going to give me the finer tips because I'm using that fan brush. I'm going to get finer splatters, not finer tips. Okay, so see how I got those really fine splatter marks with that one? Okay, so those are two different ways you can use inks to create splatter brushes. Now, I will say my #1 preference is using a shimmer brush. I really like the shimmer brushes. I feel like I like the fine, but I actually like to get a little bit of a bigger splatter as well. Like, I think the fine is a good filler, and especially if you're doing your whole base, but I definitely use the shimmer brush and do the larger splatters more often, which you can still do with the ink pad. You would just want to use a little bit thicker paintbrush, like something like this. I'm going to get my brush wet so it definitely doesn't soak up. And I obviously don't have my paper sitting here or anything like that while I'm doing this. Like I said, I would use the spray boxes for sure. And that's still giving me a pretty fine, but a little bit thicker than the fan brush. A little bit thicker splatter than the fan one. So that's why I love that shimmer brush. So if you like the shimmer brushes, definitely if you see those, get those when Creative Memories does release them, because they go super fast. And everyone send in your requests. We need the white shimmer brush brought back because it is phenomenal. It does such a great job. All right. Thank you for joining me for another tip, trick, and technique. I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to like and subscribe this video. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will definitely get back with you. Happy to answer those questions, and happy scrapbooking.